must have a direct impact on jobs and on the economy.
Now, President William Ruto's continued call for a concerted global effort to fight climate change paints a picture of a man in need to lead the world in mitigating the impact of climate change. Our reporter, Grace Nganga, reports on President William Ruto, the environmental activist. Listen in.
I, William Samoei Ruto.
For President William Ruto's doctorate in philosophy in plant ecology, the thesis at the University of Nairobi School of Biological Sciences 5 years ago was on the influence of anthropogenic activities on land use or cover changes and environmental quality of Saiwa wetland watershed, Western Kenya. He holds a bachelor's degree in botany and zoology and a master's in plant ecology. It is not clear if his educational background or his position as Kenya's head of state that has fired up a man whose passion for environment is taking the continent and the global scene by storm. Most of Ruto's speeches and addresses across the African and global cities have had the hallmarks of a climate change activism. Sunday, the head of state drove himself from State House to Kenyatta International Conference Center, KICC, in a motorcade of electric cars and bicycles. Tuesday, President Ruto will lead in hosting the inaugural African Environmental Summit in Nairobi as a build-up of a series of meetings and talks that the president has spearheaded in his pursuit for climate change campaign. At the local, continental and global arenas, President Ruto currently chairs the African Union's Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, who has been vocal on the need for entrenchment of environmental management issues at the core of nations building.
Our sole business will be to mobilize and converge around a common position and advocate for global alignment on a green growth agenda complemented by a transformative global climate finance compact.
Days after he was sworn into office, Ruto chaired a high-level meeting on conference, which is responsible for coordinating Africa's common position on climate change during his trip to the 77th United Nations General Assembly, UNGA. Since his first address at UNGA, where he called upon the World Bank, the IMF, and other multilateral lenders to extend pandemic-related debt relief to the worst-hit countries, especially those affected by the devastating combination of conflict, climate change, and COVID-19. Ruto's pedestal at the environmental management at the continental and global forums. During the opening of the African Youth Climate Assembly, Ruto said the youth have often been told that they are the custodians of tomorrow.
Sababu tuko na rasilimali katika bara letu la Afrika. Tunataka tuwe na mjadala na wale ndugu zetu wa kutoka bara zingine. Waje na rasilimali zao. Wako na teknolojia, wako na fedha, sisi tuko na rasilimali.
Ruto, in a two-day meeting in Paris, made the bold proposal on global financial reforms to increase financial flows for development and climate action during a session with President Emmanuel Macron. In his address during the Comoros celebration of the 48th Independence Day, Ruto said climate change continued to ravage the world and the continent, in particular, questioning whether the globe has recovered from a horrific pandemic as it faced a triple planetary crisis of pollution, biodiversity loss in climate change, as well as unrelenting economic crisis fueled by geopolitical unrest. Consequently, he said millions of individuals worldwide had suffered negative effects, including threats to their lives and livelihoods. Ruto has remained adamant on walking the talk on environmental conservation, calling for a concerted global effort to fight climate change, saying the consequences are a threat to all nations. Grace Nganga, KTN News, Nairobi.
Moving on, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya principal